Hello everyone and welcome to the cloud-powered mobile apps with Azure. I'm Nitish Shrestha, Microsoft student partner, team lead and developer at Therefore. You can follow me at Twitter at RipleyWhopper. So today we will be looking at Azure Mobile Services, some of its features, and I'll demo you what Azure Mobile Services is. We'll take a look at the advanced feature of Azure Mobile Services, scaling and pricing of Azure Mobile Services, and of course your questions and comments. So, what is mobile service? Azure Mobile Service is Backend-as-a-Service. Instead of you having to design, build, test, deploy, manage, upgrade your whole backend, Microsoft does it for you. So what are the features of the Azure Mobile Services? First, we have SQL database for storage. We provide built-in support for social providers with direct support for custom authentication. We provide backend logics for data validation, logic flows, and others. We provide push notification across all major mobile platforms, Windows, iOS, and Android. And we of course provide schedulers for backend job processing at a given interval of time. So let's get started with the demo of our first Azure Mobile Service. So let's go to our Azure portal over here. I'm in my virtual machine and I'm in my Azure portal right now. So in the Azure portal in the left you can see mobile service over here. I'll click on it and then we can see I have some of the Azure Mobile Services already present. I have a demo one, but I'll create a new. I'll create a new mobile service. To create a new mobile service, you can go to New, Compute, Mobile Service, and then Create. And let's give it a good name. Demo 1. Okay, Demo Mobile Niche. And I'll use the existing SQL database. I can also use a free 20 MB SQL database. For this I've already used this, so I'll get an error warning that a free database already exists in my subscription. I can also create a new SQL database instance, but I'll be using my existing SQL database. Where do I deploy this mobile service? I'll deploy this mobile service in East Asia. I'll choose backend as JavaScript. It's a Node.js Java backend. You can also choose the .NET backends, but there are some significant differences between the JavaScript backend and the .NET backend. We'll click on next, and then we'll be asked with our server credentials. Now let's log in with our SQL database. Make sure you enter correct login credentials. If it's incorrect, you end up creating an unhealthy mobile service. So the mobile service is being created. Now Azure is spinning a mobile service, a service bus, and a SQL database for this Azure Mobile Service Demo Mobile Niche. So let's just wait a second and we will be able to see the Azure Mobile Services being created and deployed into our Azure portal. So in the meantime, when it's being created, let's just take a look at some places where we can find more information about Azure Mobile Services. You can go to the azure.microsoft.com and documentation, and in documentation by services, down in the web and mobile, you see the mobile services. Now you can create your first mobile service into these platforms. You can select Windows Store and start the tutorial, or you can go down here and choose your platform as Windows Store C#, or you can also choose JavaScript. You can choose your backend as JavaScript, and then you'll find a lot of information about your Azure Mobile Services getting started and users. In this video tutorial, we'll be taking a look at adding authentication to our application. So the Azure Mobile Services is still being created. In the meantime, when it's being created, let's take a look at the it's now ready. So we'll get into it, and we are presented with a quick start that our Azure Mobile Services is created, and now let's connect it to an application. We can choose a platform as Windows, iOS, Android, HTML, JavaScript, Xamarin, or PhoneGap, and we are presented the suite getting started options. We can create a new Windows or Windows Phone application, or we can connect an existing Windows or Windows Phone application. To connect an existing Windows or Windows Phone application in C# language, you need to have Azure SDK installed and NuGet packages with Azure Mobile Services installed, and we can just copy paste this line of code using copy, allow, and just copy it, and you can paste it on your application, and the entire process is given here. For this demonstration, we will create a new Windows or Windows Phone application. So I need to have Visual Studio Express 2013 for Windows, or you can have it in the later version. I have Visual Studio Ultimate, so I'm fine with first. Now we need to create a table to store data in our mobile service. For now, in the data tab, we do not have any tables. Tables are where the data is stored. So we need to create a table where our 2D application will store data. So we'll click on Create 2D Item Table. With a click of this button, Azure Mobile Services will create a new table called To-Do Item in our Azure Mobile Services. Just give it some time, and it will spin a new create a new table in our Azure Mobile Services. So we have created the table item for you, and let's get back to Data tab, and we have our To-Do item. Let's get back to it and getting started. So now we need to download our app in C#. We'll be using C#. We click on download, save, open, and let's go back to downloads, demonetization, and extract, and we will open our application. This application is a pre-configured application with our Azure Mobile Services, and I'll show you what are the things that are available are pre-configured in this. This is a complete To-Do application, sample To-Do application. Okay, I understand the security risks, and it's loading my project. This is a universal app. Okay, so it's preparing my solution now. Let us give it some time, and a solution has been created. Now let's run this application. So when we run this application, I pressed Ctrl F5, which means start without debugging mode, and it's installing NuGet packages required for this project. As I already mentioned, that we need Azure SDK, so it's restoring those NuGet packages also. You can also prevent NuGet packages from restoring packages during build, but that will end up creating a failed build. So it's registering the application, and our application is running. Now this is a simple To-Do item table, and we just can enter our data. Demo Azure Mobile Service, and we can hit save. This will add data in it. Demo authentication, great demo. Go to sleep. And this is how we add data into our to-do item application. So let's minimize it, and let's get back to our Azure Management Portal here. In the data tab here, in our to-do item table, now we can see that the items that we entered in our application is present in this. Now we can see demo authentication, demo Azure Mobile Services, give a great demo, go to sleep are present. So when I get back to my application and I have demoed the Azure Mobile Service, I'll click tick mark and it's completed. Now I can refresh it and see that on the fly my database is updated and give demo is true already. So this is what our to-do application is. So now let's take a deeper look at our Azure Management Portal for mobile services. We are at our dashboard, where it is a dashboard, you know, everything, where we get to know our API calls, data out, HTTP server errors, SQL, CPU, and all of these things are over here. Our mobile services, our source control, dynamic schemas, and all of the information about our Azure Mobile Service. Next tab is the data tab. As I've already showcased you, it is a place where data is stored. Tables like to-do items are there. We can browse our table directly from our Azure Management Portal. We also have scripts that perform operations like insert, update, delete, and read operations. So we have different scripts written in JavaScript to perform these operations. Columns are the columns. The column ID created at, updated at, version, and delete are created by default. Permissions where you give table permissions for what kind of users can access your table. For now, anybody with the application key can access our database, our table. So let's get back to our application and let me show you how this is working. So let's go to app.xaml. Okay, come on. app.xaml.cs, and you can see we have our using Microsoft Windows Azure Mobile Services namespace, which also has a reference over here with Azure Mobile Service extensions and other things. So now we have created a mobile service client, mobile service with our demo, mobile annotation, Azure, and this is my application key. So anybody with the application key, as mentioned in the table permissions, anybody with the application key can access my table, but I need only authenticated users to have access to my data. So I'll just say that only authenticated users can access my data, insert into table, update the table, delete from table, and read from table, and I can click save, and our permissions for to-do item tables is being saved, and within some seconds we are able to see that these permissions will be set and it's completed. Now with our permissions set to only authenticated users, now let's try to run our application. Again, control F5 for starting without debugging mode, and now you can see it's not currently pulling down any kind of data. Instead of it, I'll be given an error called unauthorized like this, as I am not an authenticated user. So now our application needs an authentication. So for authentication, we'll go to the main page over here. We need to add authentication, so we'll take a look at it at a later point. Next is API. Azure Mobile Service gives you the flexibility of writing your custom APIs for Azure Mobile Services. You can also have schedulers for backend data processing. We provide push notifications for all major mobile platforms, iOS, Windows, and Android. We also have identity tab which we can use to authenticate our users, and I'll demo you this feature of Azure Mobile Services using Microsoft account settings. Next, I need a client. We can use Microsoft account, Facebook account, Twitter account, Google account, and Windows Azure Active Directory for authentication. We can also use custom authentications. We can configure our Azure Mobile Services with different configuration options. We'll be taking a look at scaling and pricing at the later point of this video. For now, we have running in a free mobile service tier. We can go to basic and standards. Logs are the place where you can debug your mobile service. You will see any kind of script errors, debug outputs, or other system errors in the log. So we need to configure the identity for our application. We need to authenticate our users. So for the authentication purpose, we use Microsoft account. So I get back to my another browser, and you can get a detailed information about it in Add Authentication to our app. From here you can get detailed information on how you can add the application. So for adding authentication to our application, we need a client ID, client secret, and Backend-as-a-Service ID. As stated over here, if you are using the Microsoft account, you need to go to the Live Connect developer portal, or you need to go to as it's a Windows application, we need to go to our Windows developer account. So this is a bit outdated, I believe. So let's get back and let's go to dev.windows.com and let's sign in with our developer account, and let's go to dashboard, Windows Store, it's loading. Okay, so I've already created the application called it as demo for this demo purpose and previous demo purpose also. So what we need now is we'll go over here, and we can also do is we can go to store, associate app store, and we need to associate this app to our store so that the information are downloaded. So I need to verify my account. Just a minute. And the code is 8821716. Submit it. And let's checking for developer account, and it's this demo. I go to next and associating this app. The association was successful. So now let's go to the edit part of it, and then to the services where you can add push notification, authenticate users, and all of these, live site, service side, and verify because I'm accessing sensitive information. And now I have the client ID, required, we put it over here. Next thing we require is client secret, and we'll keep it over here. And next thing required is Backend-as-a-Service ID, which is this long name, I believe. Can we copy it? And we can paste it over here. So now we can click on save, and yes, that will take effect immediately. As I already mentioned that it's really easy for us to develop applications using Windows Azure Mobile Services, as it's provided. Mobile service is a backend Azure service. We are powering our application in the cloud. Now we need, for authentication, it's really going to be very simple. We go to our Visual Studio and we will go to the unload of this. Where is navigated to where we refresh our items. Before refreshing, we need to make sure that we are authenticating our users. So we say await app dot mobile service dot login async mobile service authentication provider, and we are using Microsoft account for it. Right. So we also need to make sure that we are configuring our application correctly. Once we have application in the store, we need to make sure that in the API settings, we have marked, haven't put any kind of redirect URLs for now, so we need to put a redirect URL. For that, the redirect URL is our Azure Mobile Services URL, which is, we can copy it and we can paste it over here with, oh no, this is not okay. We copied it and we paste it with login / Microsoft account. I believe this is what I needed. Okay, let's check. I'll take a look. Is it correct? Login / Microsoft account. That's absolutely correct. This is for JavaScript. For .NET services, you will be using different URL. So let's save this. Okay, the changes have been saved. I hope this will work now. We have also added our mobile services over here, and we will refresh it, the item. Let's run it with debug mode, because if I get error or my app crashes, I can find out what's going on. I hope the application runs perfectly fine. And we are prompted with connecting to a service. And we are asked to log in, so I will use therefore @outlook.com. This is our therefore we are the team of Microsoft student partners developing solutions for child to help reduce infant mortality. Okay, the password is wrong, it says. What happened? I think I used my old password. I remember I changed my passwords. So it's saying that let this app access your information and just demo this permission. I'll say yes, of course, I'll give the permission. So now our user is authenticated. Now we can see that our data is over here. Now we can add data and remove data very easily. Let's close this application now. As for now, we have seen how we can easily, with a single line of code, we can use the authentication, right? So now let's take a look at the authorization. So I just don't believe I need this, and we can get that. And with authentication, in the down below over here you can see that after authentication we also need to implement authorization, so that only the user can view their data, not other user can only view their data, not other users' data. For that we use server-side authorization of mobile services. We go and just create authorization. For that we'll go up, and in data tab, in our table we already mentioned that we have scripts tab, which performs operation based on these scripts. For server-side authorization we need to make sure that user accesses only their data. For that we'll create a new field column said item dot user ID is equals to user dot user ID. Now you can see over here in the data all of the codes are given here. So what this does is, with dynamic schematization enabled, for the first time the insert script runs when dynamic schema enabled. Mobile service automatically adds user item column to the to-do table on the first execution, and you can just save it. I'll tell you more about dynamic schematization in later. I'll show you whether to know if it's enabled or not. To read operations, we also need to make sure that now query that where user, okay, I just forgot the actual script. Oh, I haven't implemented much. It's a query where user ID is equals user.user ID. User ID equals to user dot user ID, and I'll hit and save. And save. It's using the power of dynamic schematization. And so let's get back into our dashboard, and you can down below here see the dynamic schema is enabled. So what if this is disabled? Though it won't be. You can go to your configuration tab, and here you can see dynamic schemas. Let's get down a little. Dynamic schematization is on, so this is the place where you will do it. So now let's get back to the Visual Studio and let's run our application once again. Now we are asked to again log in with our account. So let's wait for the screen to pop up. Okay, therefore enter it outlook.com and a pretty long password. Now you can see that I do not have any kind of data. I can hit refresh. I don't see any kind of data. You'll say, what about the other's data? I'll show you what happened to others' data right now. Therefore data 1, therefore data 2, therefore data 3, and I'll hit save. Now let's close this application, and now we'll run this application once again, but this time I'll use my different Microsoft account. What happened? Oh, some error or what? Let's rerun this application, and it's connecting to a service. Now let's log in with my other account. log in. I'm going to permit this application, and I again don't see my data because I do not have any kind of data associated to it. Data 1, data 2, and data 3. Now as you can see, I can't see my therefore data. So you might be confused. Is it in the table, or maybe it's not stored? So let's get back to our Azure portal, and in our data tab, into items, you will see all the data are stored. Now you can see a user ID is there. Now you can see that all the data are there, but the thing is, a user ID is also over here. This is our user identification number. So these previously into the data didn't have any kind of user ID. So when I logged in, it didn't match my user ID, so I was not presented with it. So what if I log in once again? If I log in with my same user ID, I will be given the data that I had stored previously for my video. And let's log in, and in a matter of time I can see my data, and I can just make sure that the data are done, everything is done, and it's completed. And in my table over here, I can absolutely see that my all over here must be true, and over here true in this data 3. So this is how you implement authentication and authorization for your application. It's really simple, not a big deal, and it's really easy to use Azure Mobile Services to power your applications, and I am in love with this Azure Mobile Services, and this is how you do it. So you just also saw that some weird user ID over here, so you can also make sure that you can also view that user ID. Azure Mobile Services gives you that user ID, passes back to your application. So this is authentication and authorization for your application. Now let's get to the scaling and pricing tier. So users and licensing, I was running on the free version of Azure Mobile Services, so I had users was up to 10 services and up to 500 active devices. Active devices refers to the number of physical devices and emulators that make at least one call or to or receive a push notification from our mobile services. I had 500k API calls per subscription, and scaling was not applied over here. You cannot scale the free version of your Azure Mobile Services. Scheduled jobs were limited, and SQL database was required. That is 23 MB free database was included. In basic, there was no users and restrictions. For API calls, you had 1.5 million per unit, and up to 6 instances were available for basic, and scheduled jobs were included, and database is the same. And in standard, API calls were 15 million per unit, and scaling was up to 10. In the service level agreement, general availability is 99.9%, which is pretty good. So we just took a look at Azure Mobile Services SQL database, we took a look at authentication, we took a look at logic, and we edited the scripts. We haven't shown you how to do push notifications. I will make some video tutorials for push notifications also, and schedulers also. So for free resources, you can go to if you need a free Microsoft Azure trial account, you can go to azure.microsoft.com. For video tutorials and more, you can go to azure.microsoft.com/mobile, and for SDK and source codes on GitHub, you can go to github/azure/azure-mobile-service. And so visit azure.microsoft.com, and thank you for watching this presentation. Have a good time. Thank you.